Okay, so I'm doing part 2 of my last video on the same topic. Well, the last video was like on an update on shit, but like I did it right when I woke up and it was kind of shitty and I wasn't very clear on a bunch of stuff. So, I figured I'd try to give you a little rundown, like a better one while I'm awake. And I've been awake for a while. I've actually haven't slept very well the past couple days, so it might still be shitty, but I am trying again anyway. So like I was talking about how like my VA psychiatrist wanted to see my tetas. Like he wanted me to take off my shirt like all the way off and like show him a better, closer view of my tetas. And tetas is the Spanish word for boobies. I like calling them tetas or boobies or tits or like and whatever fucking word. Anyway, I put up like a video of Grandadslounge. It's like a clip when I told him about it, which I thought that was gonna be like my first time like bringing it up to him, but then he was like throughout the video it seemed like I had brought it up to him like a month or two prior, which my memory is kind of shitty, so I didn't really remember at that time until like he kept on like kind of like hinting at it that we've already discussed the psychiatrist. So eventually I went back in our chats and yeah, I definitely did bring it up to him. So he wasn't just like pulling it out of his ass. And I wanted to like react to his reaction, but like every time when I'm like testing this shit, I'm like pausing it to say something and then unpausing it, and then it'll like fucking lag, and I don't know why it's doing that, so I might just have to play it like the full way through. And I'm trying to like talk a little quickly so that, you know, this isn't like all dragged out too crazy. But anyway, apparently we're gonna say 3 months now, because it's been like this incident happened like December 18th and it's now January, and our previous appointment before the December 18th appointment was like 2 months prior, 1 or 2 months prior to that. So like I think it was about like 2 months, so October. And so it started because like my therapist is a female and she was switching job locations from one VA hospital to another VA hospital, right? And like I'm in New York, so she was switching to like the Manhattan VA, and she wasn't available for several months because it took him a while to get it sorted out, and I didn't mind. It was like whatever, you know. But I did have a psychiatry appointment in that time, and you know, I was doing some like deep conversations with my friends and shit about like you know, like my hypersexuality issues. And not because like I wanted anything to change with him or whatever. Why is my light off? Let me try not to get distracted. But anyway, I didn't want to like change or anything. I like the way I am. But I felt like maybe it was causing me issues in my life that I wasn't really aware it was at the time. And so I was coming to some realizations, and I decided to bring it up to like my psychiatrist. When this one appointment, he just kept on like fucking, he always like compliments me and shit, but like the October appointment, he just kept on like fucking complimenting me and saying how beautiful I am and telling me how much he like basically not in these words, but he hated my tattoos. He hates my tattoos. I don't know if he still hates my tattoos. But he hated my tattoos. He hates the fact that I smoke. But he kept on saying I have like this natural beauty, and you know, like I'm beautiful, and you know, everything was about my beauty and stuff. And like he's mentioned that before, which like I didn't think it was a big deal, you know, like. But this October appointment, he was like going hard at it, and it made me feel weird because I wasn't really expecting to get compliments in like that kind of setting, like a psychiatry appointment. And so like I called my therapist after I like discussed it with my friends, like, because I was like, this makes me feel weird. I don't know. And my therapist didn't answer. She wasn't in that day. So I ended up deciding to like call my psychiatrist back and just like fucking confront him about it. And he was like, well, if it bothers you, I can stop. I was like, it's not that it bothers me. Like, I have this hypersexuality issue, and it's like, if people compliment me, I love compliments. Like, you know, it gives me the opposite effect. Because if people compliment me, then I feel the need to like reciprocate it. And you know, it has a lot to do with the way I've grown to be, I suppose. I don't know. I can't say anything deep on the topic because obviously discussing this with my psychiatrist, he was like, well, he said that, like, I forget exactly what he said, but you know, Grandadslounge kind of like touches on the subject, and that's why I have him here. And yeah, like, so he could remind me of the whole thing. But yeah, so we discussed a bunch of stuff. I don't remember exactly what. I don't want to pause too long, but like it had to do with like hypersexuality and getting compliments and reacting a certain way. Like I might get flirtatious, and I might start hitting on people, you know, like I was explaining this whole thing to him. And he was like, yeah, sure, like he said he was gonna keep things professional, and if things started like going left, that he would like bring it to my attention, and he won't let things go too far and stuff. I don't know, now it seems kind of weird, but at the time it seemed like he was gonna take the professional approach, right? So fast forward 2 months later, I fucking forgot all about that. And my next appointment, how was it? Fuck. It was like December 18th, not even that long ago. It's January 7th now. It was a couple weeks ago, and my memory is like shit. That's why I wanted to try to like make a video while it was fresh in my head, and I sucked at it. And now it's like even less fresh in my head. But, so yeah, this next appointment, like, oh yeah, he wanted to talk about like my traumas, like specifically this one kind of like traumas, and it seemed like he was digging for details, and of course I didn't give him. I don't really like talking about like trauma stuff. And then he was like, then he wanted to talk more about like the hypersexuality stuff, and then I forget exactly like what the fuck he said. I have like screenshots of my friends where I tell them like exactly like how each appointment goes after they happen, because like my memory's always been pretty shitty. And like, so like I'll do like describe my appointments to them, like if something bothers me, if something doesn't bother me, and stuff like that, if it was a good appointment, if it was a bad appointment. So, and like, yeah, I described it all to my friends, and I didn't even like fucking look through the notes, because I have it all in one folder now, because I had to report that doctor, you know, like. But anyway, that's like skipping ahead. So yeah, he went there to talk about like my like hypersexuality issues and traumas and stuff. And then like he was saying that like I deserve like good things to happen in life, a good life. I deserve like a person that's gonna treat me good and all this stuff. At that point, it was at the end of our appointment, and I got a bit emotional because I was like, I done like lost hope and all that shit a long ass time ago. And then he was like, I'm gonna call you later. And then I was like, alright. And then he called me like several hours later, but then he was acting like he couldn't hear me on the phone, which like then I didn't realize. I was like, my phone must be acting up, but now I think it was intentional that he was acting like he couldn't hear me. And then he like called me back and he was still acting like he couldn't hear me, and I was like, do you want to go back on like on video chat? That was like working fine. So one of the things I didn't clarify in my last video was my appointments are video chat. They're telehealth appointments. And so this all took place on like video. And yeah, so like the second appointment, I was in this room that I'm like currently painting. I'm like painting the walls and the ceiling and shit. And I'll probably do some painting tonight. I don't know. Depends on my mood. Anyway, I like painting stuff. It like relaxes me and junk. So I was in that room for the beginning of the session, and then he started asking me like what happened, like why I get emotional. I was like, it's the same thing I told you, like I don't really have like that hope anymore. And then he started asking me like what do I do when I get urges. I remember this part. And I was like, I make videos. I have like kinky videos. And I was like, I call it my art therapy. And he was like, oh, that's good. And I was like, I have like a dungeon in my basement and everything. And he was like, will you show me it? And I was like, sure. You know, I don't care. You know, like that's like my little man cave equivalent. So I'm kind of thirsty. 1 second. Intermission. So I was like, it'll be a bit much because I have to bring my whole laptop downstairs, and there's all these wires and shit for like the webcam and junk and the charger. But yeah, like I ended up like bringing my laptop downstairs to the basement, and I was showing him all around like my dungeon, my pride and joy, one of my favorite places to be in. And you know, like I showed him like my big cabinet full of toys and everything. Obviously I can't show ya here, but anyway. And then like I was like, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but like yeah. And then like he was like, oh, that's nice. And then he was like, with the videos that you make, like do you show other people? And I was like, well, not the custom ones, because you know, like people pay for those. I'm not gonna show them for free unless they want me to, which some people do. So I was like, but I make like a bunch of other like videos and stuff, and I post them on social medias. And he was like, will you show me one? And I was like, sure. And it was like I decided to show him this one that's like really kinky, and it's cute, and I really like it, and I like the way it came out, but it's nude, but like it doesn't really show a whole lot. But I had to use the like screen share option, and I don't really do a whole lot of screen sharing, but there was the option there and the thing, and I never used it before, so like I tried that to like show him the video, and it was like I'm like a cat, so I have little cat ears, and I have like a tail butt plug, and I'm just like, you know, like pretending I'm a cat, like licking my paw and everything, and you know, like cleansing myself. So it was cute, and I liked it. It's like one of my arty videos, I would call it. And then he was like, yeah, at the end of it he was like, he was like, that's nice. He was like, why don't you, he started making these motions to like lift up. I was like, what? He was like, so I can see, like, just open it up. That's what he was saying. And I was like, didn't you just like see everything? He was like, it's kind of blurry. I was like, I didn't really like do the like screen share option before, so I didn't know why it was like blurry or whatever. But he wanted to get like a closer view, and had it been any other time, he probably would have gotten it, because at that time, like, I forgotten that it was like a psychiatry appointment, and I was viewing it more like I was in like my mentals was like, this is like a regular kinky chat with like anybody else. So like, but I was like, at that time, like, my kid was home from school already, because this was the second appointment. The first one, she was in school. The second appointment, she was home, and I was like, it's just not a good time, because I got like mommy duties. She's got to go to like fucking Girl Scouts, and she likes to eat before she goes. So I got shit to do. Like, just not a good time. So then, like, I got off the call with him, because yeah, my kid likes to eat. And so like I went and I told like my brother and his fiance, and I was like, yeah, the weirdest thing just happened. Like, my psychiatrist wanted to see my tits and stuff. They was not amused. Like, my brother was like not amused at all. And he was like, what the fuck? Like, and I was like, you know, like, I told my friends after, and they were also not amused, and I was like, and they like told me I should like report it, and I didn't really like care about it until I like started thinking on it more, and I was like, what if he does this to like other people? Like, that's kind of fucked up. So it's like, yeah, so then I messaged my therapist very quickly, because like my friend was like, do it now, like, before you forget. And so I did, and um the next day she called me, because this was like after hours. Like, it took me like an hour or two to like even think about it. And then like it was like after 5 o'clock already. I think we finished our chat like around 4:30. So it's like, yeah, like after 5. And then yeah, she had me talk to like the patient advocate, and I told him everything that happened. Like, at that time, like, everything was like fresh in my mind and stuff, so that was like good. Like, I gotta get things out before I forget them. So like, told her everything that happened, and then I was like, yeah, that's like not okay. So then there was like, oh yeah, and then like I posted it on Reddit, and I'm gonna like have to put like the like screen thing. I'm gonna try to do it like right there where it's like black and stuff at this time. But of all the comments I had received and stuff, like, the veterans were not amused either. They were like, that was pretty disturbing and stuff, and they were telling me like, don't rely on the VA to like report it, like, report it yourself, report it to like the board and all this stuff. And I was like, how do I even like fucking report it? I don't even know what the fuck it is. So I was like, I don't think it's like sexual harassment, because it's like, that has like certain requirements and stuff like that. But then I found out that like through like researching it and stuff, that is considered like sexual misconduct. So yeah, like, so I was doing other things of reporting it to like the OIG, and then like to the board, which he's like in Florida now, but when I started seeing him, he lived in New York, and then like he moved to Florida during like sometime during COVID and stuff. And so like I had to report it to like both the Florida and the New York, but I'm pretty sure it's just in like the New York one I was supposed to report it. But anyway, I was just doing what like the veterans told me to do, because I was like, as far as I was already concerned, like I'm done with the VA. Like I'm not gonna be dealing with them anymore, because I don't like people like taking advantage of the shit that I tell them in confidence, and then um try to use it against me. That's kind of fucked, and it aggravates me. So yeah, that's the whole story with that. I went to post like an update on how like the fucking investigations is going with the VA and everything, but like apparently I don't think that the mods of like the veterans subreddit or the veteran benefits subreddit are like really veterans at all, because they seem very sensitive. I don't think they would make it through boom camp being that sensitive. But yeah, they ended up like banning me and stuff, and there was like tons of people that wanted like updates and shit. So that's another reason why I'm doing this video, so that they can know that apparently the OIG felt that it wasn't a criminal thing, but when I talked to the local police, they said it would be like a misdemeanor, not like a felony, because the local police had to contact the DA because he was like, this is unusual. And my therapist said it was unusual for her too. She's never dealt with that kind of situation. The patient advocate also said it was unusual for him too, because he's never dealt with anything like that. So it's like all these people are saying it's unusual, and I'm like, they're just not gonna believe me then. But that was like, since it was like people figured since it was on like video chat that maybe it would have been recorded. I found out later that it's not recorded, so it's like really it's just no proof whatsoever. That's another thing that I don't like, that like possibly he even knew that it wouldn't be recorded, and maybe that's why he was feeling so bold. And he also said that like that he was retiring. He's gonna retire this September, this upcoming September. So like he's not gonna be in much longer, so it doesn't even matter if they like take his license or not. Like he might just like do an early retirement, right? So that doesn't matter. I was like, none of this reporting shit matters. But like then they had a sexual harassment prevention coordinator, I think it is, person called me, and she was like the only one that like seemed knowledgeable in this kind of stuff on like what's gonna happen. And she plays neutral, and she just tells me what's, the process of things. She's not for the VA or against them or anything like that. She's not for me or against me. She just like gives me information about the process. And they told me like the VA is gonna be investigating themselves, which I was like, obviously, like I view it like how cops would be if they investigated themselves. Like obviously cops get to investigate themselves, and they get to find nothing is wrong ever. So oh, my stomach is crumbly. I'm hungry. Anyway, I don't know why I'm hungry. I fucking ate already. But yeah, like so she was like, no, if that was the case, then they would never find anything wrong with the VA, and they always like find shit wrong with it. So I was like, yeah, I guess it makes sense. But then like doing like more research on this kind of specific kind of topic, like apparently like doctors can keep their like licenses even if they're reported like once or twice or 3 or 4 times. They get to keep their licenses, like. And I even saw like a fucking statement on someone's site that said like if they weren't doctors, they would be like sex offenders, but since they're doctors, they could get away with it. So it's kind of shady. It's kind of fucked up. And there really wasn't a whole lot of information, and I didn't know anything about this, like, prior to this happening and stuff. So, like, that's another reason why I'm doing this video, is to, like, let people know that, yeah, there's people like that in the VA and, like, the doctors and stuff. So that's crazy. I've, like, completely dropped the VA. I've already dropped, like, going to the doctors, like, last year, because, like, I always felt like they would just, like, ignore me constantly, and I was getting aggravated, and it was just pissing me off, and it was a waste of time, and effort, and nerves. So, like, I've had a lot of, like, bad experiences with medical over the last lot of years. I've been going to the VA, I guess, like, almost 20 years. And, yeah, I've had a lot of issues. And not just with the VA, just, like, hospitals in general and stuff like that. So, like, I've completely, you know, this was, like, the icing of the cake. Like, I'm completely done. And I've stopped taking my meds. It's going great. But, yeah, because he was my psychiatrist, so, like, he, like, oh, and then they told me, right, okay, so, like, the sexual harassment prevention coordinator person, she was like, yeah, they're gonna investigate themselves, and then they're gonna, like, they're gonna have an investigation, and they're gonna have an investigator, and then they didn't have an investigation. They didn't have an investigator. What they had was two random doctors from the VA that supposedly have no bias against the VA and no bias against the doctor, and that they just asked me a bunch of, like, random questions about what happened and stuff, and, like, it's like telling, you know, a random fucking toe doctor, like, what happened, and if they believe you, then they move it up and they tell other people, and if they believe you, then they move it up. It's just fucking bullshit. But anyway, yeah, at that point I was like, yeah, that's kind of fucked. Like, yeah, I can't even do, like, a proper, because at first they told me that they were gonna have, like, an outside source, like, fucking do the investigations, and then they decided not to. But anyway, I did look it up, and it says, like, it would be considered, like, a misdemeanor, like a fucking burglary or fucking other shit that's, like, A misdemeanors. It's, like, the highest misdemeanor you could get before, like, a felony. That's what it'd be considered. But the OIG, the Office of Inspector Generals, did not consider it, like, a crime or whatever. So that was interesting. But they mostly deal with, like, you know, like, money issues, like fraud and shit like that. You know, like, money is way more important when it comes to law. So yeah, so, like, I did the, like, the question answer thing, and they didn't even ask me as many questions as my fucking patient advocate did. So I had to, like, email them after and, like, add more stuff. Like, yeah, I didn't even fucking do a good job asking me about the fucking incident. Like, the shit was bullshit. Anyway, and a waste of time. But people should know about that. So personally, I feel like people should have the option to have their appointments recorded, because, like, I did have, like, a psychologist before, and she used to, like, she would ask me if she could record my appointments and, like, a little tape recorder, whatever, and I was like, sure, you know, like, I ain't got no problem with that. I know some people wouldn't have a problem and some people would, so I think having the option would be good. But anyway, they don't, and I feel like places where they don't allow, like, fucking recordings and stuff, like, those are the places that like people would seek out to like fucking abuse people the most, like fucking nursing homes and hospitals and court. You know, so it's like convenient for them, it's not recorded. But anyway, so what else? Oh, and then I think it was yesterday, like my psychiatrist, like fucking, well, prior to this, like they told me that I had been removed as his patient, and they told me that they removed all his patients, but they undergo the investigation, and it's supposed to be like 30 days. Within 30 days, I should get a letter that says whether or not they fucking believe my story or not. And I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I got a call from his secretary saying if she could move my appointment for February that I didn't even know I had to March, because she was like, he's not going to be in February, but he should be back in March. And I'm like, they didn't even remove me as his patient. Like, I was expecting at least that much, but they didn't. And then, yeah, apparently they ain't doing shit because he's coming back, so fun times. So, like, yeah, I just told him, like, you know, remove me from anything VA related. Wasted a lot of time and effort on the fucking bullshit. So, well, I had no choice before, because like fucking for the past couple years I've been in court ordered mental health treatment, but since that's been over, I don't know, like 3 months, I don't have to. So I'm not going to. So yeah. Okay. So we're gonna watch Grandadslounge fucking reaction thing. I'm gonna try to like not say anything throughout it. I don't want to drag this out. I don't know how long I've been fucking talking for, but we're gonna watch it. Yeah, cause like I don't remember a whole lot of it, but I think he says a lot of good points that I didn't fucking think about. You know, whatever.
Last one of 2023, last month ever. Podcast is over. Bad news. They have to tell you on air. Capture live reaction.
I could talk a little bit over this part. I was I had gotten notification that he was on, and so I was like the first person in his chat.
General. The rest of it. I feel
okay. I was tired.
Yeah.
Very tired.
Yes.
So this morning I on something very, very early before I could go to somewhere. And I taken off a couple of key weeks. It was like about like 7 o'clock. I was like,
I've taken a couple of keys. I thought that's
key weeks.
I can't get up at that time in the morning, so.
No, key weeks. Anyway, so I went to cut the key week. And then like I realised like the plate was like full of blood. And I was like, whoops.
By the way, this clip is like 20 minutes, so if you want to skip it, you can. I probably don't have a whole lot more to add to it. I'm just going to be here. Oops, let me shut up.
Like go to the sink or like all my plates in the plate.
Yeah, for me, you don't really do that though, really. You don't really get bruises.
I didn't even feel it.
I waking up. Well, I think Cameron.
I just haven't read it yet. I saw that you'd messaged us. Sleepy, tired. Very manic lately. Very manic.
Really bad.
Very manic.
When I was in Sean once, we were in Weymouth. Actually, we could talk about Movie Stockholm because we went to go film Movie Stockholm, and then we were boxing in the town centre.
Oh my God, I'm so
in
annoyed.
Weymouth, not Weymouth. And we've been boxing in this one area for like ages. And we suddenly like that Sean was like, oh my God, looked at the door, and there was like a bird that had like completely eaten apart from the farm. all like splayed open like that,
My God.
and like you can see like the entire like end of the thing. Yeah, I was very good. So I was thanks for going.
I had linked them to the Reddit post that I'm going to put down here,
I can't remember where it was. Somewhere quite recently, I saw birds.
so y'all could see everything.
Which felt, that felt wrong. That should felt like God is against that. I don't think you should. I don't think you should do bird cannibalism.
So you do turkeys for
After being what is it?
Samuel Leeds runs one of the biggest property training companies.
Same psychiatrist that we were talking about like a month or so ago. That same psychiatrist. I'm not often speechless. Just asked to see your tits. Like, if you tell me, like, did he tell you he's fallen in love with you and stuff first? If he just, like, straight up asked to see your tits, then it's like, especially with everything that you told him about how to. Did he pay you lots of compliments? By any chance? I think when you told him all that stuff a couple months ago, Peggy, you broke the guy. I did warn you that you'd break him doing that. I did warn you, and I think you broke him. And he's fallen in heavy lust with you or something. Jesus Christ. I can't read out that last. You reporting him? Yeah, you did report him. I'm just reading the thread. Reading the stuff you wrote in there to make shit easier. And he really thought he was in, and he was just like, right, we're in there then. Oh God, he was getting off. Peggy, he was getting off. The guy, that's like, again, we've had some pretty deep chats, I think. And I've not just started asking you that shit. Jesus. Yeah, the real concern is that you're the only one. And then you wanted to know your Reddit account or Insta account. Okay, I'm not reading all of that then. Jesus! And he was like, well, can I see one? Of course. Yeah, there's nothing research about that. There's nothing... Jesus Christ, mate. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
See, I'm glad you told me about the compliment thing. Because I think I'm quite a complimentary person. I compliment people. I like to compliment people a lot. But you told me that, and I was like, right, well, I'm in a serious relationship with Willie. I wouldn't want you to even remotely get any other ideas. Anyone to get any other ideas, right? And so I was like, okay. I will be still chat to you as a mate, still chat to you about this stuff. But when we're having these sort of talks, you may have noticed, I'm not going to give you any compliments because I don't, you know what I mean? I don't want that. Twilly's had to overcome a lot of insecurities, you know what I mean? Especially for our long distance relationships work, and part of that does involve me putting in some effort, right? Which I think is fair. I'd expect a doctor to be able to do that. I'd expect a doctor to be able to hold himself to higher standards than I hold myself. I really would. I wouldn't just expect it, I'd demand that a doctor holds himself to higher standards than I hold myself. I know you're very dry and jokey and analytical about this, but that's really fucked up. Yeah, it's not okay, Peggy, but this is the problem with you. This is literally the problem with you. You just, in some sense, you have been a bit groomed and you don't seem to get it when, yeah. Yeah, you've got the opposite problem to Twilly. Twilly's, like, really good at powering guys off. Like, her natural way of talking to guys is very deflective. You know, it's like anti-flirting. You have the opposite problem. Your natural way of talking to people is incredibly flirtatious. You're a very flirtatious person. When you're explaining where that comes from, it's trauma-based, blah, 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 who you are, all the rest of it, you'd expect to be able to, like, keep it in your pants. I don't know. I'm not surprised you just felt like you're having kinky chat, and then that's fucked. Your kid was home from school, and I was like, I got my own duties. Oh, wait, you wanted to... Oh, God. And then you remembered, yeah, you promised you wouldn't let things go too far, and so you lied. Yeah, I'm just gonna see literally what was the end of when we were last chatting. It was you saying... What did I say? If he keeps you as his patient, then maybe he'll still do it semi-professionally and finish a course of treatment and then make a move. I didn't expect the next appointment. Jesus Christ. You know, what I described would have been a moral grey area. What's happened is a moral black area. You know what I mean? You were like, what? You know, he said he will bring it to your attention. He said if there was any issues, he would bring it to your attention. You were worried about what if you start teasing him, and he said if it's too much, he'll bring it to your attention, then he's asking to see your tits. Jesus Christ. Welcome, Trip. Can you be another adult person to just say to Peggy what she has been telling me is the most fucked shit ever? Jesus Christ. Peggy's therapist, psychiatrist of 5 years, asked to see her tits. He said last month, if it makes you uncomfortable, I can stop. He said he likes you as a person because the way you are, but he's going to make sure I get the treatment you need. And appreciated bringing it to his attention. And he spent all month thinking about it and getting himself horny as fuck. Jesus Christ. What up, mate? Jesus. Jesus. No, that's what I was just trying to, like, sort of express, Trip, is you literally tell the guy that you have issues around sex addiction and making yourself vulnerable to men that you really shouldn't. It comes from hefty trauma, blah, blah, blah. You tell the guy what to do, how to do it, and he's like, but don't worry, I'm your therapist. And you've never, as you told me, not been able to bring this shit up with therapists before because of this issue. Because, yeah, I get it. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. He has taken advantage of you using information that you have told him in absolute confidence, seeking his help with those things. You've raised up things that you consider a problem in your life, and he has used that information to manipulate you into entertaining his sexual fantasies whilst he's meant to be providing you treatment. No, I mean, that's like, it's a bit fucked. It's a bit fucked. Yeesh! I have not eaten. I shall eat a samosa in a bit. Yeesh! Oh. Oh. The problem is you literally, after telling somebody like that your issues, you needed him to never do what he's done in order to help you get over those issues. This is instead will reinforce much of the stuff that we've talked about that I'm not going to talk about, but that will reinforce a lot of that stuff, and that's fucked, mate. But I did say that this could possibly happen. I did warn about this, and so I'm always right. That's the silver lining. There's a silver lining, It's always right. I mean, I hoped and prayed. That, or I at least hoped that as I said, that he'd keep it in his pants until the end, or go about it in a slightly less gross manner. Why couldn't he have done it some cutesy way, where it's all why couldn't he have romantically fallen in love with you or some shit and given us some cute story instead of just finding this stuff out very next appointment, coercing you into flashing your tits kind of thing, asking to see your tits. Why does it have to be such an extreme? I like sour grapes. I need a new eraser. I actually need a new eraser. This is a...
So, that's the end of the clip. I don't know if there's anything else I want to add. But yeah, oh yeah, there is. At first I thought it was funny, his initial reaction. And then, as it went on, I kind of saw, that, how disturbing it is. And, a few of my other closest friends, fucking pretty much got triggered by, the whole process and everything, too. So, I probably will trigger warn this, just because, it is, it seems to be a very triggering topic. But yeah, there's that. How am I doing? My mood's been up and down and all around, and because people have been asking me that, and I haven't slept much the past couple days and shit. So yeah, that's just typical reactions to stress. Don't think I'll ever be doing mental health stuff again, just because this isn't the very first issue I've had with that kind of system. It's so much has happened throughout, which I think is fucking negatively affecting my mentals, because I get a lot of flashbacks now. So yeah, but it's not I'm struggling all the time. Sometimes I feel fine. But yeah, so the moral of the story is, don't tell people you have hypersexuality issues. They will try to exploit it. It doesn't matter if they're a fucking doctor. That is all. Bye.